Hey, happy Thursday. So, tonight I am going to page through and review the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Lost Omens Gods and Magic from Paizo Inc. So, stay tuned. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I'm the boss. I am the founder and editor-in-chief. Tonight is February 27th, 2020. This is the final episode of The Daily Dope for the month of February 2020. This is episode 449 of The Daily Dope. You want to point out, if this is the first time you've checked out the show, this is very, very casual. This is a live stream. Kind of hang out. Always talking about tabletop gaming news. As I mentioned in the intro, I will be reviewing the Gods and Magic supplement for 2nd edition Pathfinder in just a couple of moments. I do want to kind of point out a few different things before I jump on in. First off, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and if you do so, don't forget, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you of when the Daily Dope goes live, it'll also tell you when I upload standalone videos, like I had 2 of today. That's right. I had a look at the Starfinder deck of many worlds. We took a peek through this earlier today. That video's up. And I also reviewed D&D Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness, which hits stores tomorrow. So those 2 videos are available right now. They did pop up earlier today. So pretty cool. So also want to point out, because this is a live stream, excuse me, geez, it's super dry down here again in the Duct Tape Studios tonight, and it is cold. It's chillier down here tonight than it's been when it was a lot colder outside. Although I can't complain, because I think Sunday we're supposed to get close to 60 degrees in the Chicago area, without any rain too, I think, so that'll be pretty sweet. Anyway, I do want to point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel here on YouTube, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. All right, and as I was going to say, because this is a live stream, chat is available. Chat is not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do pay attention to the chat, and the chat does show up during the replay. If you happen to be watching this after the fact, maybe you're watching on Memorex, you will see that there is chat. I do my best to pay attention to the chat. Sometimes when I'm doing a review or kind of really getting into like an unboxing or something like that, stuff may fly past, especially if we've got quite a few people hanging out in chat. But I do my best to pay attention. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question or a comment, by all means, please chime in. I will respond. Strangely enough, nobody in chat yet. Let's take a peek. Sometimes I always have to double check with YouTube, because sometimes my chat window isn't synced up with the rest of the chat window. So, yeah, okay, looks like we're all right. Just double checking. Cool beans. So without further ado, let's jump on in, because tonight I am going to page through and review the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Lost Omens Gods and Magic. I swear, at some point, I'm going to call it Gods and Monsters. Just know it. I'm going to do my best not to say that. It is Gods and Magic. It is from Paizo Inc. The 135-page hardcover is available now. It did come out late last month. It is carrying an MSRP of $34.99 as a hardcover, or you can get it in PDF for $25.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera right in front of me. Boom! There we go. So, this is the book here. First thing I'm going to point out is it looks like there's a bit of a change in artwork style for the cover. Usually we have like a big monster fighting somebody. That's usually what I'll see. There's usually kind of almost like a panoramic kind of image for the cover. This is different. This is a little bit different. I like it. I got to be honest. I do like it. I think this is pretty cool. So we've got I believe this is called the Starstone here. We got a trio of the deities on the cover. It's kind of funny because every time I see this goddess, I keep thinking of, Joan of Arc. I don't know. I guess it's probably supposed to make you think of Joan of Arc anyway. So let's flip this on over. Take a look at the back here. It says, test your convictions. In a land without fate, in a world too often void of justice, it falls to the gods to make or break the people who call upon them for salvation or draw their ire. Swear yourself to the might of the gods and the power of their causes, or reject their offerings to live a life that's yours and yours alone. Lost Omens, Gods and Magic offers details on major gods found in the Inner Sea region, including what forms their pleasure or wrath might take. It also presents rules for over 100 other deities and philosophies, so you can find the cause that best fits your convictions and take up weapons and magic in its service. Obviously enough, this is a must-have for game masters who are planning on, running games where you've got priests, clerics, monks, those kind of characters. Even just, standard characters of fighters. They should have some sort of a deity that they worship. Or, as it says on the back, you worship none. So that is a possibility as well. So we're going to jump on in here. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to zoom in because there are so many authors, so many artists to this book that I actually want to give some credit here. I didn't want to spend a bunch of time, 10 minutes reading all of the authors. Got all the authors here, as well as all of the artists and the cover artists and so forth. But I want to give them a little bit of credit here, right? Putting this book together. This is not easy work. So I will zoom back on out. And we will dive on in. I am actually going to disappear. Oops, that's a little too far. Let's get a nice close look here. There we go. That should be good. All right. So I am going to disappear because I don't want to be blocking off the corner of the book. So there we go. All right. So we've got the table of contents. We got the overview. This contains loads and loads of deities. So we're going to first start off with, we're going to have the gods of the Inner Sea, and it's going to share with us 20 of the major deities. We're going to get into a bit of an introduction and overview of the book as well. We have some new rule elements, talking about various different domains of these deities and alternate domains where they may exist. We have new feats. We've got a new background raised by belief. So it says, whether in a monastery, a religious household, or just as part of your everyday life, your upbringing was steeped in the traditions of a faith or philosophy. You might remain committed, or you may have turned from your childhood creed. Your skills are still founded in your devotion. So you get to choose 2 ability boosts. Talk about favored weapons. Each of the deities will have a favored weapon. Talking about also the different templates as well. That were those were introduced, I believe, in the Lost Omens character guide, which I do not have, unfortunately. So this is actually the first of the Lost Omens books that I've had an opportunity to take a peek at. Something I want to point out too about the artwork. I really, really like the artwork throughout this book. But I have noticed, at least in the core books, and I consider this to be one of the core books, that the artwork has gone more towards a more realistic style as opposed to a kind of anime or manga inspired style. And I like that. I like that decision. I understand there are some folks out there who do not, that they feel that, Paizo's just trying to kind of make the game look like, everybody else's fantasy role-playing game. I don't believe that. I do not agree with that. But I do like the new style of artwork. Not that I hated the old style in first edition, but here's going to break down what are we going to see as far as each of the entries. So we're going to have 20 of the major Intercession deities, then we're going to have 20 more, but they're more minor deities. We will not have a 2-page spread for each of those. These we do. We do get a 2-page spread. So we get the deity's name, basically what they're known as. We get their alignment, what realm, some allies, enemies, temples, worshippers, what their sacred animal is, sacred colors, their divine ability, as well as alternate domains of worship for them as well. So we get quite a bit of background information on each of the deities through here. Then one thing that I thought was very cool as well is we do get divine intercession. Divine intercession. Jeez. I can't speak English tonight. What's going on here, Jeff? Which is going to tell you what this deity may do if they're pleased with you or if they're not pleased with you. So we've got minor boons, moderate boons, major boons, minor curses, moderate curses, and major curses. To kind of give the game masters a good idea of the pleasure or wrath of the gods that they can roll on out. Something else we have too is aphorisms, where I thought those were kind of interesting. It's like, how is this deity's name used in kind of like phrases or oaths and things like that. So it be judged by Abadar's gaze, the deal is sealed. So we've got Asmodeus, or Asmodeus, depending on how you'd like to pronounce the Prince of Darkness. We've got set up for him as well. We'll just kind of page through here, looking at some of the different deities. Also, one thing I'll point out too is we get a little kind of artwork of what do they kind of represent. What will you affiliate with this deity? Another thing I thought was cool too is that we also will receive kind of an image of the kind of artwork that you would normally see the deity depicted. So we might see totems, we may see stained glass. Here we see this is almost like a wood burned into a cask or a keg, because it is the accidental god of ale, bravery, freedom, and wine. We'll see once again. We did the artwork there. This is kind of sort of their symbol up here. Really nicely done. I appreciate the fact that each of the deities do receive artwork so we can see what they look like. There you go. For an example, some totems here. Here we've got Joan of Arc. Iomade. I'm taking a guess that's the pronunciation. I'm sure I am way off on my pronunciation of all this stuff. As I pointed out before, as I was reviewing the first chapter in the Extinction Curse adventure path, The Show Must Go On, I am not extremely well versed in Pathfinder, folks. So I am not new to role playing. I am not new to tabletop gaming. Been doing that for over 40 years. I am pretty fresh to Pathfinder, so my apologies if I mispronounce some of the more important characters and things like that. All right, just kind of paging on through. Yes, I want to make sure I wear my lingerie with skulls. Okay. There's the goddess of aberrance, Monsters and Nightmares, Lamash 2. So as you can see, we have both good and evil and neutral deities as well. So we're popping on through. This gives the Game Master a lot of really interesting angles that they can utilize as well, especially when characters are creating, or I should say players are creating their characters, giving them an idea of the deity that they possibly would worship. I gotta be honest, I mean, usually I find that kind of tough when I'm doing a fantasy role-playing game, especially when we have, you know, the cleric types, the paladin types. And this will really, really help out both players and game masters as well. This is more, in my opinion, this is more aimed towards game masters as opposed to players. I don't really feel that this is a player-facing book, but then again, players can own the book. So here's an example. This is where we would see the artwork maybe in stained glass. Very nicely done. The God of the Forge, Protection, and Strategy, Torag. Now, this is pretty wild. That was a pretty wild image here. The Pallid Princess. Zod Kuthan! I am the Midnight Lord, lawful evil. So, it's like, hey, Pinhead, you got nothing on me. Oh, is that, oh gosh, I'm trying, Iron Maiden. I'm trying to remember, what that torture device is called. Okay, so now we're going to get into the more minor deities. So these will only get a single page devoted to them, but we still get a lot of information packed in here. So if your player characters have not found a major deity that they feel fits their domain, I guess we'll say, right? Then what you can look at is you can start looking at some of the more minor deities as well. Kabuki Kid has popped into chat. Good to see you, Kabuki Kid. Thanks for joining me. I know you're a big role-playing game fan, so I am taking a look through and reviewing the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Lost Omens Gods and Magic supplement. This is the hardcover here. So all of your deific needs are taken care of here in this book. Do want to mention, we're going to see that it's not just different deities that are in the book as well. We did see as we opened up, we had a few pages devoted to some new feats, overview, some new concepts, as well as the new background. So now we'll get into like demigods. We get other gods, which I had to chuckle when I ran across some of the other gods because I am a big fan. Well, I mean, not necessarily a fan of these fictional deities, but I think longtime viewers of the Daily Dope and followers of the Gaming Gang will understand what I'm saying when I get to those pages. So we've got Archdevils and Queens of the Night. We get Demon Lords. The Eldest, which not something I was like overly familiar with. I think these are like kind of like abandoned gods that really aren't worshipped so much in the Inner Sea area or the world itself. So we get Elemental Lords, Imperial Lords, the Horsemen. So we get the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Monitor Demigods. So these Monitor Demigods are kind of like they kind of serve. They're not moralistic. They're more like almost like the deed itself, sort of like the means as opposed to the end. Thought these were kind of interesting as well. Here we go. The Outer Gods and Great Old Ones. gotta get some Lovecraft in here, right? So we've got Azathoth, we've got Nyarlathotep, Yog-Sothoth, Pastor. So as soon as I saw that, it was like, oh, sweet. That's cool. I know Sandy Peterson did that Lovecraft, the Cthulhu book, and I think there's an edition for Pathfinder. I think there's also an edition for, oh, I know there's an edition for 5e, but I believe the edition for Pathfinder is first edition. The yellow sign. I'm sorry, that is the elder sign, not the yellow sign. Yellow sign looks different. So then we had philosophies and spirituality. So we get some of the elven pantheons there. We get some different religious orders. God calling, you better answer. Don't let it go to voicemail. Green faith, laws of mortality. There's just so much really cool, interesting background in here. Yes, granted, I will point out, it's not like this book is jam-packed with specific gameable material, right? It's not just a bunch of like new mechanics, new feats, new optional rules, things like that. But these are the kind of backgrounds that really help flesh out the world for your players. I'm real big on trying to make my role-playing campaigns, the game world, as like alive as possible. I try to make them like breathing worlds. So, and although I do want to point out that if you follow the show, if you follow the website, I have decades running Call of Cthulhu. So I have not run tons and tons of fantasy role-playing games. And when I do, it's kind of a bastardized old school Renaissance that I've knocked together. So then we get some character options. We're going to get new spells. We get new feats. So we get quite a few new feats. We get new spells. So we get a few pages of new spells. I think 6. If I remember right, there's 6 pages of new spells. And that's actually quite a bit, because each page has like anywhere from 3 to 5 spells on it. So then we get the domains. It says, though each god wields great power over many aspects of the universe, their focus tends towards specific areas of concern known as domains. Worshippers who devote themselves to a deity may be granted access to secret spells known as domain spells, through which they can manifest a sliver of their deity's power and work great feats of magic. So there are 18 new domains, and we got the table of the different domains, and we have the domain spells. So this is where we start getting into a lot of the gameable material. Love this artwork here. I thought that was very, very cool. Draconic Barrage. And we have items and weapons. Hey, Pope's missing their hat. I wish we had some more images, though. That's one of the big things with the fantasy role-playing games that I'm a big fan of, is when we have books that give you a picture of all the different stuff. Now, granted, just, regular old sword, okay. But a lot of times there are, especially with the weapons, when we start getting into morning stars and flails, and a lot of people don't understand what the difference between a mace, a morning star, or a flail would be. And of course, if you have images, then you can show them. Obviously, that would not be something in this book. So we're going to finish up with an appendix. And the appendix actually will kind of give us a nice, easy breakdown of not only the deities we've already looked at, there are some additional that are in here as well. So, and then it's kind of broken down by like archdevils, I should say, demon lords, Assyrian gods, dwarven gods, so on and so forth. And that is how we're going to finish up the book, is with this really cool appendix. Now we get a glossary and index just to wrap up. And that is what we've got in the Lost Omens Gods and Magic for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So let's swing back to the other camera, and I will share my final thoughts and give this a review score. So first off, I see that Kabuki Kid is talking about, I remember in AD&D 1st Edition, it was famous for people to have their clerics using the Lucerne hammer because there were no pictures and we didn't know it was a pole arm. Yeah, you know, that's one thing that I thought was pretty funny with, well, actually, 2nd Edition D&D, I think as well, because I think Gary Gygax was still involved with, yeah, almost positive he was still involved with TSR when 2nd Edition came out. They loved pole arms. Gary Gygax loved pole arms. They're like, which is cool. I like that. I like that for a fact. But I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever had, I know myself personally, I've never had like a role-playing game character, both pen and paper or like computer role-playing games, who used the pole arm. So I don't think I remember any players in any of the games, any fantasy role-playing games that I've been in, who used pole arms. So I don't know. Hey, John Bogle's here. Good to see you, John. Thanks for popping in. All right, so we got the hardcover for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Lost Omens, Gods and Magic. And so what do I think? Obviously, as we were paging through, I think you got the impression that I think this is pretty cool. I really, really do like this. Is it loaded with gameable material? Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, you're looking at, you got new feats, you got new spells. You also have those domain spells that come into play as well. You got the new background. But the vast majority of the page count is devoted to background. I don't want to say fluff. Fluff sounds negative. I don't think fluff is a negative, unless a game is just all fluff. So, which of course we already know Pathfinder 2nd Edition is not. So I love the fact that we've got tons and tons of potential deities that can be not only worshipped by the player characters, but can be thrown in as adversaries or allies if you happen to like to run your own adventures. If you're not running the Pathfinder adventure paths and you create your own adventures, or maybe you kit bash or port over adventures from other systems into Pathfinder as well, this gives you a handy dandy guide to a vast variety of possible deities to utilize in your game world, or Glorian. I think that's how it's pronounced, right? I think it's crossed. So I like that. I like the new spells. I love the artwork. I really like the artwork. I really do like the change in direction as far as the art style. I know some people are going to poo-poo me for saying that they really liked first edition Pathfinder's art. It wasn't bad. It just didn't grab me as much as some of the artwork that I see in the 2nd edition core books as well. B-Series, awesome. B-Series, excellent. Really, really love the artwork in that as well. All in all, this is, in my opinion, this is pretty much a must-have if you are a Pathfinder 2nd edition game master. As a player, probably not. It doesn't hurt. I mean, it's not as if, you're reading something and it's going to give something away. It's not unlocking any secrets to an adventure or adventure path or anything like that. But this is pretty much near essential, in my opinion, for the game masters out there for Pathfinder. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give the Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Lost Omens, Gods and Magic, say that 5 times fast, a 9 out of 10. I do ding it a little, because I don't think this really needed to be a hardcover and carry a $35 MSRP. That's just my thoughts. I do kind of have the impression, once again, I have not reviewed a lot of Paizo material, and as I pointed out, fine folks over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to send me some Starfinder and Pathfinder goodies to review and share with you. But I think what they try to do is I think they try to have their core books released as hardcovers, and then some of the kind of like background books, and of course the adventure paths, things like that, are softcover. But once again, I don't know if it needed to be a hardcover. So that is the only kind of ding that I have to give it. Otherwise, really, really think this is an excellent book and a near must-have if you're game mastering Pathfinder 2nd Edition. All right, so Kabuki Kid says, no, Gary was out by 86. I was already gone from the whole D&D scene. So I remember when Gary got forced out. But I'll be honest, since this is a live show, I can kind of do this, right? Kind of go up on tangents a little bit. Since I already gave my review score out, right? So folks who were just popping by to see the review are like, okay, thanks, Jeff. See ya. But I was going to say, I think I've kind of mentioned this in the past. I mean, we've only done 449 shows, right? That I played a bit of D&D. One of the first game purchases I ever made was G1. The Studying of the Hill Giant Chieftain or whatever. I forgot what it's called. It's the Hill Giant one. It's G1, right? Thinking that was a game, and here it turned out it was an adventure. I needed to have other books. So, but I did not play a lot. I did not play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. I played a little bit of Redbox that a friend of mine ran. Maybe his Blue Box. I was in, I think, 7th grade. And we played a little bit of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. The summer between my 8th grade and freshman year. Little bit of D&D freshman year. But from freshman year on, that's when I picked up Call of Cthulhu, the 1-inch box. And that's basically what I ran all the time. And my other friends in the Gamers Guild, that was our high school club, they didn't run D&D. They ran like Top Secret, Gangbusters, Stormbringer, Behind Enemy Lines. I mean, just tons and tons of role-playing games, but not D&D. And I think part of it was because there was like a rival game club at my high school, and I went to a huge high school with like 5,000 students. The rival game club was all D&D. So I think kind of made us poo-poo D&D a little bit more. So, but yeah. So when people talk about 3rd edition, 3.5, 4, I have a little bit of familiarity with them, but it's not as if I sat reading a bunch of the books. Probably picked up some adventures from time to time, and because I love reading RPG stuff, even if I'm not necessarily going to run it. But so Gary was out by 86. Well, my sophomore year in college. So Kabuki Kid also says, yeah, nobody used pole arms. There were 10 of them in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. There may have been more than that. So, also, Double K says, I still remember the AD&D First Edition permanent character record had a 2-page spread that had drawings of all the pole arms, various armors, and whatnot. It was actually helpful at the time. Yes, it was really well done. Because like I said, many of us did not know what we knew what a mace was, but we really didn't know what a flail was. And then from a flail to a morning star, what was the difference there? So that really did help clear the air and inform all of us as well. I see Jorge Rodriguez popped in to chat as well. Very cool, very cool. Studying the Hill Giant Chief. Thank you. Yep. Yeah, I was like, what? It's Studying of the Hill Giant. Just goes to show how long it's been. I had the vast majority of first edition modules, even though we didn't play. Like I said, I used to go buy it. I wish, I've said this time and time again, I wish I had all the games that I have had throughout all the years. Boy, I would have like a museum. I really would. So, Kabuki Kid says their graduating class was about 140 kids. Ours was like 980. Because I know my freshman class was like 1,500. And of course, city of Chicago, you're going to have people dropping. So anyway, all right. So that is it for tonight's show. I am not going to be having a show tomorrow. I am going to be at C2E2, the Chicago Entertainment and Pop Culture Expo. I don't know. They dropped the P. I have no idea. So I will be covering that this weekend. I don't know if I'll have actually coverage, any videos, anything like that. It tends to be a very fly by the seat of your pants kind of convention. So you never know. We might not. But I will be back on Monday. It is episode 450 of The Daily Dope. I will be sharing a review of Igizia, Shifting Sands. And I will reveal the fate of The Daily Dope. Is The Daily Dope going to continue on? Or will it go the way of the dodo? You're going to have to find out. You're going to have to wait, find out. First show of March. Coming up Monday, the 3rd. So, as I like to always point out, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Fight those trolls out there. And of course, subscribe to the channel. If you do so, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you of when the Daily Dope goes live, maybe for one more show, or more, don't know yet, you'll find out. It will also notify you of when I upload standalone videos, like I had 2 today, my Starfinder Deck of Many Worlds, as well as my review of D&D Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness. Yep, there was a twofer today. This makes a trio of videos tonight. Anyway, also, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, of course. But have a great weekend. I will be back on Monday. And of course, until then, happy trails. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.